Hello and welcome to the channel. What I have here is a B-flat trumpet that I got for just $35 from a local antique shop. And I did some digging online and was able to find out that this is a Conn 17B director trumpet from roughly the 1960s. And although it's called a director trumpet, this was actually a student instrument, but it was said to be a bit of a higher end student instrument for the 1960s, a very reliable instrument that a lot of marching band students would use. And of course, the first thing that caught my eye about this was that beautiful copper tone on the bell. So with trumpets, you usually see silver, you'll see brass color, but you don't always see that copper tone, and you really don't see a combination of it, or at least I haven't seen a combination of the two tones very often. And so that immediately caught my eye. And so those of you out there who play either a woodwind or a brass instrument, if you're ever at an antique shop and you see the instrument that you play, you probably run up to it and see the price tag and see what condition it's in. If you're a trumpet player out there, what's the main problem? You go up and you see if it's in working condition. What's one of the main problems? It's that these don't move, right? These are usually all gummed up and locked up, and you can't move your valves even slightly. But I walked up to this one, I saw that beautiful bell, and I went up, and they all moved pretty freely. Bought it, I took it home, and I took everything apart I could possibly take apart, and I started to clean the instrument. And it was pretty dirty, but it could have been a lot worse. But the main issue I had, and this is probably the second biggest issue an old trumpet like this would have, is our tuning slides. They get stuck, they don't want to move, because they haven't been greased in a very long time, obviously. And that's really the main point of this video. I'm not a professional trumpet player, and I don't know much about repairing instruments, but I do know you have to be delicate with them so you don't destroy them or make them even worse than they are when you got them. And the main issue that I had with this trumpet was my main tuning slide was totally stuck. It would not move at all. I just feared that I would damage the instrument further if I tried. So I looked up online what some of the options were, and I wanted to share what option worked best for me. So if you are a student and you're seeing the price of trumpets right now and they're way too expensive, I say don't go to the internet for this. I would say go to your antique shops, look around them, look around used instrument shops, and try to find instruments that you might be able to buy for a really good price, and then turn them around and give them new life again just by trying a few tricks. What I learned online was you could put some penetrating oil, and what I ended up using was WD-40 because that was all I had on hand. And so this main tuning slide was totally pushed in like that. It was completely in, and I could not get it out. I did a little bit of penetrating oil right on the little crease there, and I just let it sit for a little bit. And then comes the scary part. I saw a lot of people with blow torches, professional instrument repairmen, coming up with blow torches and saying that you have to heat that pipe right there in order to let the penetrating oil do its work and actually get in there where it needs to get. I didn't have a blowtorch on hand, so I ended up just getting a little candle lighter, just a normal lighter that anyone might have in their house. And I did the same thing. I tried to heat that pipe up. I just moved it all around that pipe, starting from the closest point to where I put the penetrating oil and moving my way back. Gave it a nice tug, and it popped right out. My jaw hit the floor because I had pretty much already given up on this, and I was so upset by it because I got this wonderful trumpet and everything got cleaned out, the valves worked perfectly, everything works on this instrument but that main tuning slide. The other thing I noticed about this that I just wanted to point out in this video was, if you see here, if I pop the bottom cap off here, you'll see that there's a spring. There's a spring part of that. And now I have another trumpet that I used when I was in middle school and high school. And whenever I took the valves apart on that, the spring was actually embedded in that valve. The spring isn't at the bottom of the casing. The spring's actually inside of the piston itself. And so I thought that this was a very interesting design, that the whole piston is a solid piece and the spring loading action is actually from the bottom. It always gives you an appreciation. You'll see on my channel here I have reed organs, I have all kinds of vintage instruments that I try to fix up. I'm no professional, but I take a lot of pride in being able to take something that did not work, a musical instrument that could not make music, and bring it back to life and give it a little bit of respect. And that's exactly what happened with this instrument. And I hope that this video is just an inspiration to any of you out there, even if you're not a professional musician, that I think it's really important that we go out there and do this kind of work and keep this history alive. Because if I hadn't picked this trumpet up and done the work to it, that main tuning side would probably have never been fixed. Nobody would ever have picked it up. Nobody would have thought it was worth the time. And now I have a trumpet that I actually like more than my main trumpet. This is now taken over. Just the tone of this, I think, is superior to newer trumpets, or even these cheaper trumpets that you might find on Amazon. You'll hear band directors talk very negatively about the cheapest instruments you can find on Amazon. And this is the alternative. And I just wanted to point that out. Whether you're a brass player, woodwind, or anything else, I highly suggest you take the time, go fix one of them up, try to give them new life, and make some music.